Now, I know I've mentioned this before already in this film, but you need to focus on matching the tone that you are speaking to your bird, or that you are playing to him on an audio CD, or however you're trying to teach your bird a new word, to the vocal capabilities that he has. If he's a little parakeet and you're this big guy who has this big, deep bass voice, good luck teaching your bird to talk, because it's not going to work very well. You really need to try to match pitch for pitch the exact type of tone that your birds will talk in. I want to also bring around another point here. What we've created, and this is for the first time that I've ever seen this done in this market, now, is we've created some audio CDs that come with this kit. And what these CDs are is they're a collection of a whole lot of our customers' birds talking on audio CD. Now, this is by far the best way to get your bird to learn a new word, by hearing other birds talk. Now, this is widely known. If you have birds, you know that they teach each other how to talk. So we will have some of Tico's words on there, other macaws on there. We'll have some cockatiel words. We'll have our Senegal George talking on there. We have a whole lot of African gray, and we have a whole lot of Amazon words. So a whole lot of choices for you to pick from, where you will have birds saying words. And because of the way birds say the word, it makes it 10 times easier for your bird to pick up on that tone, that inflection of other birds to learn new words. It's awesome. It'll work hands down. It's the best possible thing you could do. And I want to give you an example here. My fiance, who by the time this is probably completed, will be my wife, has a little parakeet. And it's actually a female parakeet. And if you know anything about birds, females don't tend to talk as well. They can, but not as well. And it's a little bird, and she's had him for a little while. Now, Magoo, our cockatiel, not the greatest talker in the world, but he can sing Winnie the Pooh, and he can say a few things. He says hello, and he talks a little bit. Spent a week with this little parakeet. They just had their cages side by side. They just played around. I was babysitting the bird. Now, I didn't do any training at all. I didn't do any rewarding. I didn't do any clicker training. All I did was simply let the birds hang out to each other, and I gave the parakeet back when my fiance came back into town. Then all of a sudden, a few weeks later, we start to hear the parakeet saying the same stuff that Magoo, our cockatiel, says. And it's just, wow, I mean, it just works when you can match the same tones. A cockatiel and a parakeet have very similar tones. It's a really high-pitched little voice, and the parakeet picked it up like that. It's just super, super easy way to teach your bird how to talk. And we're going to get into that later about how to use those CDs to really get your birds talking in a hurry. Now what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to get your bird in the mood where he's going to be in a high emotional state where you can start to teach him some words. And the first one is on using the mirror. So let's go. Let's show this technique, and I'll show you how to do it right now. Well, I don't know if you can tell this. This is kind of an interesting shot. But what we have here is we are looking at a hallway mirror, and you're looking at my reflection in the mirror, so hey. But what we have is we're going to do the click and reward method for teaching Magoo how to say something, to catch a word on cue. And we're going to use this mirror, put Magoo, our little cockatiel, in front of the mirror. I'll immediately click when he says something and give him a reward. So you can see it happens. And I do this because it really gets him to start talking. So just, here we go. What he said was, hey Magoo. He goes, hey Magoo. And so you reward for it. Or hey buddy. That was, hey buddy. So you do these different things. So now you pick a word that you want him to say. So you would go, hey buddy. And you wouldn't reward because he didn't say the word. Then you go, hey buddy. That was, what you doing? But we aren't going to reward it. We could choose to reward it if we wanted to, but we're going to focus on one word that he says on the mirror, and we're just going to, at random, a whole bunch of times through the day, say the word, hey buddy. Hey buddy. Click and reward. And this bird is already clicker conditioned to know what the clicker means and when it earns him a reward, and so he understands that that's doing something good. And so you're going to need to make sure that your bird understands the same but just continue to repeat this process until pretty much every time you say, "Hey, buddy," that he repeats the word. "Hey, buddy." All right, say it. "Hey, buddy." If he ends up getting bored, just stop back. I've never taught this bird how to do this before. Just don't worry about it and come back 5-10 minutes, half hour, an hour, whatever, and just do this multiple days in a row until he starts saying it on a continual basis. Good job, sweetie. I want to show you this for one reason. What you're seeing here is you're seeing George be showing some emotional turmoil, almost halfway attacking the mirror. And this is a good point that I need to bring up here. You do not want to, just because I mentioned using a mirror technique to teach your bird to talk, put a mirror in your bird's cage and think that, oh, now my bird's going to talk all the time. It's a bad idea. They end up either growing emotionally attached to the mirror, or they end up being very possessive of the mirror and start displaying angry behavior. So you just want to be careful with that, and that's why I wanted to show this. I love you.
I love.
Good boy, sweetheart. Now, the reason I wanted to show you that is very, very, very simple. Tico and all of your birds are really receptive to learning words at a couple different times. One of those times is when you enter into a room. So if you're looking to teach your bird how to say something, make sure that you always say it when you first enter the room where your bird hasn't seen you. Because what's happening in your bird's perspective is he's sitting there and he's all bored, maybe he's full, he's kind of waiting for some action to happen, then all of a sudden you come into the room and he's like, yeah, this is so exciting! And his eyes will start pinning, and he just gets so excited to see you that he will start to verbally pick up on anything that you say during those times. The same thing happens when you leave the room. It's not necessarily that he's excited that you're leaving, it's just an emotional thing because he doesn't want you to leave, and so he'll be more receptive. And so those two times are great times to teach a bird a word. So you can also do something like, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
As you're leaving the room, and then walk away and give him a treat as you're going. And those are just two times where you can really pick up your bird and teach him how to say some new words. So be very attentive to that. And when you're going in and you're saying those, be very enthusiastic. Not so you scare the bird, but you briskly walk into the room, you look him in the face, and you just say it really enthusiastically. And your bird's going to catch up on it. The more enthusiasm that you have, the more they'll pick up on it. And this is why this is true. How many birds do you know of that say hello all the time? You know why the hello is the best, most common, most said word from a parrot? It's because it's said when people enter the room and it's during an exciting period. Hello and bye-bye are one of the most exciting times that you can teach a bird anything. So I just wanted to make that point very, very clear, and I think that if you use it, you're going to have a lot of success. Another very important technique that you can use and have in your arsenal, another arrow in your quiver for teaching your bird how to say a new word, is by using audio CDs. Now, there's a couple different ways that you can do these. And the best way is to use our audio CDs that came with this kit that have real birds talking, and use those real birds to teach your other birds how to talk, okay? The other way that you can do is you can use other CDs that you can find in pet stores all over, and they can be used with some success. Just make sure that you follow the instructions previously explained in this, matching voice inflection and voice tone, and you're going to have some success. Okay, now, some points on using CDs. You're going to want to have a CD player that's going to play a CD with some intervals, like where you can take a track that'll have one word on that track, and you can set it up so that the word is said maybe, like for example, if you were going to teach I love you, it would say I love you, and it would say it once every minute or once every 5 minutes, and it would maybe say the word 15 to 20 times and for no more period than 15. If you were going to spread it out to 1 to 2 minutes a word, you'd want it to go for half an hour. And if you wanted it to be every maybe 30 seconds or something like that, only play the tape for 5 minutes maximum. If they start hearing, I love you, 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 they're going to get darn sick of that word and they aren't going to want to hear it anymore and they aren't going to learn it. So you either have to go, if you're going to do 25, 30 minutes, space the words out every couple minutes, have the CD player turned up so it really grabs your bird's attention. Don't scare the bird, but he's kind of perks up his head and he wonders what it is. And by the time the minute or two has passed and the CD says the word again, it's catching him in an emotional state. He's alerted to a new noise that's coming along. He's going to be more perceptive to that word. And then if you're going to shrink it down to like a 5-minute time span, have the words never go more than 5 minutes if you're going to say it 15, 20 times within that period of time. So anyways, do those types of things and you're going to have some success with CDs and using those types of methods.